Magic Swan. The story of Peter and the Magic Swan. Were once upon a time three brothers. The eldest was called Jacob, the second Frederick, and the youngest Peter. The youngest brother was treated shamefully by the other two. If anything went wrong, Peter had to bear the blame and put things right for them. He had to endure all this ill treatment because he was weak and delicate and could not defend for himself against his stronger brothers. One day, when he was in the woods gathering sticks, an old woman came up to him and he told her all his troubles. "Come, my good youth," said the old dame, when he had finished his tale of woe. "Isn't the world wide enough? Set out and try your fortune elsewhere." Peter took her words to heart and left his father's house early morning, but he felt very bitterly parting from the home where he had been born and where he at least had passed a happy childhood. Sitting down on the hill, he gazed once more fondly on his native place. Suddenly the old woman stood before him and tapping him on the shoulder said, "So far so good, my boy. What do you mean to do now?" Peter was at loss what to answer, for he had always thought fortune will drop into his mouth like a ripe cherry. The old woman, who guessed his thoughts, laughed kindly and said, "I'll tell you what you must do, for I have taken a fancy to you. I'm sure you will not forget me when you have made your fortune." Peter promised faithfully he would not, and the old woman continued, "This evening at sunset go to yonder pear tree growing at the crossroads. Under it will find a man lying asleep, and the beautiful Lord Swan will be fastened to the trees close to him. Be careful not to awaken the man, but unfasten the swan and take it away with you. Everyone will fall in love with his beautiful plumage, and you must allow anyone who likes to pull out a feather. But as soon as the swan feels as much as a finger on it, it will scream. Then you must say, 'Swan, hold fast.' The hand of the person who has touched the bird will be held, and nothing will set it free unless you touch it with a little stick, which I make you a present. When you have captured a whole lot of people in this way, it will train straight on with you. You come to play down where Princess lives, who has never been enough to laugh. If you came only to make her laugh for fortune is made, then I beg you will not forget your old friend." Peter promised again that he would not, and the sun set when he went to the tree the old woman had mentioned. The man lay there fast asleep, and the large beautiful swan was fastened to the tree beside him by a record cord. Peter loosened the bird and let it away with him without disturbing its sleeping master. He walked on with the swan for some time and came at least to the yard where he some men were busily at the work. They were all lost in a narration of birds' beautiful plumage. One fourth youth who had covered with clay from head to foot called out, "Oh, if I'd be one of those feeders, how happy I should be!" "Pull one of them, then," said Peter kindly. The youth seized one of the bird's tail. Instantly the swan screamed, and Peter called out, "Swan, hold fast!" and do what he would do to the poor youth, could not get his hand away. The more he howled, the more others louder, till a girl who had been washing clothes in the neighborhood stream hurried up when she saw the poor boy fastened to the swan. She felt so sorry for him that she stretched out her hand free him. The bird screamed. "Swan, hold fast," called out Peter, and the girl was caught also. When Peter had gone on for it with his captives, the mad chimney sweep who laughed loudly over the extraordinary troop and asked the girl what she was doing. "Oh, dear John," replied the girl, "give me your hand and set me free from this young man." "Most certain I will," replied the sweep, and gave the girl his hand. The bird screamed. "Swan, hold fast," said Peter, and Swear was added to the number. They soon came to the village where a fair was being held. A traveling circus was giving a performance. The clown was doing his tricks. He opened his eyes wide with amazement when he saw the remarkable trio fastened to the swan's tail. "Have you gone raving mad, Blackie?" he asked, as well as he could for laughing. When the bird screamed, Peter called, "Swan, hold fast!" "It's not laughing matter," the sweep replied. "The sledge has so tight hold of me, I felt if I were glued to the hair. Do you set me free like a good clown, and I should do you a good turn some day." Without a moment's hesitation, the clown grasped the outstretched hand. The bird screamed. "Swan, hold fast!" called out the Peter, and the clown became the fourth of the party. Now in the fourth row of the spectators sat the respected and popular mayor of the village. He was so much put out by what he had considered nothing but a foolish trick, so much annoyed when he seized the clown by the hand and tried to tear him away to hand him over to the police. Then the bird screamed, and people called out, "Swan, hold fast!" and the dignified mayor was called fast, as the others were. The mayoress, a long thin stick of a woman, enraged at the insult done by her husband, seized his free arm and tore it with all her might. The only result was she was forced to join procession after it as no one else had any wish to aid him. Soon Peter saw the towers of the capital in front of him. Just before entering the city, a glittering carriage came out to meet him. It was a young lady, as beautiful as day, but with very solemn and serious expression. No sooner Had she perceived the motley crowd fast under the swan's tail, then she burst into the laughter, in which she had joined by all her servants and all ladies in waiting. The princess had laughed at first, they cried with the joy. She stepped out of her carriage and looked more closely to the wonderful sight, and laughing again over the capers of the poor captives. She ordered her carriage to be turned round and drove slowly back into the town, never taking her eyes off Peter and his procession. When the king heard the news that his daughter had actually laughed, he was more than delighted and had Peter and his marvelous train brought before him. When he saw them, he laughed till the tears rolled down his cheeks. "My good old friend," he said to Peter, "do you know what I promised to the person who succeeded in making the princess laugh?" "No, I don't," said Peter. "Then I will tell you," answered the king. "1,000 gold crowns or a piece of land. Which will you choose?" Peter decided in the favor of land. Then he touched the yacht, the girl, the sweep, the clown, the mayor, and the mayoress with his little stick. Then they were all free again and ran away from home, as if a fire were burning behind them. Their flight gave rise to the renewed merriment, and the prince felt moved to stroke the swan, at the same time admiring his plumage. The bird screamed, "Swan, hold fast!" called out Peter, and so he won the princess for his bride. But the swan flew up in the air and vanished into the blue horizon. Peter now received the duchy as present and became a very great man indeed. He did not forget the little old woman who had been the cause of all his good fortune, and appointed her as a head housekeeper to him, and as his royal bride in the magnificent castle.